Hello, good evening, and we have a student game today. It's a top level game here, actually, 1700 and 1800 top level performance in the opening and middle game. So I'm really not sure what to expect, but let's have a look. Let's get into the game. Professional level opening and a very clever move. Clever move. At least clever looking move. I'm not sure. It's a bit slow. That a4 is a bit slow here, right? It feels a bit off, because the game is really here, right? The game is in the center of the board. He hasn't yet developed his piece. He hasn't yet castled. A4 is a bit slow. So A5 is the wrong counter because it's like, when your opponent wastes time on the side, you should be like, oh, you got this big plan here? Oh, okay, cool. No worries. Check. And then follow it up with another queen here, and then you can't even do that. Anyway, you just got this massive battery down here. So a5, probably a quick response. We'll have to see the timing later, but a5 probably not right. Computer likes c5, which is a tough move to spot, I guess, but the principle is not too difficult to grasp. The principle is that you want to create an isolated pawn. Either he captures here and you get an isolated pawn, or you capture here and you create another isolated pawn. So it's a win-win. So c5 is the correct idea there. So in a way that's instructive, how to handle a pair of pawns is to just try to break them down into one and then fuck the other pawn. So now comes in the check. This a4 move seemed kind of dumb now in retrospect. Okay, that's a spicy move. I I think it's good that you saw the idea, but now as you see, it's not given the green check mark, so there is a problem in it. But it's not immediately obvious what the problem would be, because queen up is not the kind of move you want to have to make. But could there be other compensation, like a bishop check? I don't see that either. So I think it's a hostile move. It's a hostile move and not the right response. So computer thinks you should just ignore it. Computer thinks you just ignore it and allow you to capture and also capture here though, right? Why wouldn't we also capture the pawn at the end of it? Somehow computer really thinks this is good for white, like really good for white. Um, because apparently, the lack of development and the pre-angling of the pieces is so strong, so lopsided, that even though the material balance is somewhat similar, this is a slam dunk for white. That's the key positional understanding to develop. Like when all the pieces are just there, it somehow just works out for them. So that's why computer thinks you should just ignore and castle. Fascinating. But let's just go back a second because now I want to see what does it think was the best move. Knight out here. Just a slow builder, you know, basically suggesting that your piece development needs to be prioritized before you start like trying to get some major advantage. So a bit more sophisticated, a bit more measured, a bit more in the spirit of the Nash equilibrium. Whereas this move here is actually a minor violation of the Nash equilibrium. You're trying to get something. And I think it's a reasonable bet, but there is blowback which comes eventually with these kind of ideas. All right. So you get a good bunch of pressure down and you capture it. So I think this is all very well done actually. This is it's a good sequence. In principle, it's a very good sequence. And now forced into a trade. And tricky question here that will be asked, how does he handle the back rank? Does he go with the bishop here? That's a reasonable shout. I like bishop there actually. Is he even threatening to take something? No. King in there, okay. It's not the end of the world, but it's yeah. And now this is a patient move from him. Patient move, and basically he's building the mating net, right? If you, for example, if you push him here, then knight check, and you come back in, and then rook check, just neatly trapping you at the back with the bishop guarding the knight. So yeah, the pressure starting to build, and you cracked a little bit here. You cracked a little bit here. You didn't defend in the optimal manner. What you should have done is that simple move, bishop here. It looks like a nothing move, but it's doing something. It is. All right, gives you a chance, and snap, you take it, and it's an even game here. Or actually, black is in the lead apparently. Wow. Yeah, knight here, I think is not optimal. I think you have to figure out the move here. In these kind of situations, spend the time to think about how you will develop your pieces. You spent about a minute on this move, and you came up with this square, but objectively, where where are you going next? Where are you going tonight? You know, you have to ask yourself, where are you going tonight, Frank? And I would say you want to go to the Tahiti, Hawaii, right? You got to figure out the spot you want to hit, and that's how you figure out where to move the knight. So that's the lesson of the day. Uh, okay, so a bit passive play here, and this passive play is now in a position to be punished, apparently. Punished in a big way, not obvious to notice this, but apparently heavily in favor of because of the trapped. Very well done. Very well done. Even I didn't actually spot it so easily right away. Uh, so now you just have a terrific advantage. And just being clinical with it. Okay, a little greedy, but it's. I mean, I wouldn't have given away that one, but that's also fine. You've won it. I mean, you won. You want to wipe everybody out? I don't want to wipe everybody out. Just my enemies. Okay, finally resign. All right, good game, and catch you later.